Hey folks, and welcome to Mashinky. This is the 5th era update. This is a train tycoon game that progresses through various eras, and the 5th era, I believe it's the early electricity, has just been released. So we're going to check it out. This is going to be a let's play / tutorial. I'm going to go over how to play the game as we move along. I'm just going to go with the default map settings. The only thing I've changed is that we're going to check out the Wild West terrain, which I don't believe was in the game last time I played, maybe a year ago. I have put the difficulty on hard, which mainly prevents trains from magically turning around at stations on their own. So you either need to build trains that can go both directions, or make sure your train can go out through the station and keep continuing onward. Or I think they can reverse extremely slowly if neither of those are satisfied. So let's get into it. This game is in early access. I think the plan is to even go to the future. And I'm going to pause time because time does tick away down here. And here we are, first quest, which is the overarching quests of this game, progressing through the ages. To get to the early Steam age from wherever age we're in now, we need to invest these tokens. And tokens you earn like currency in the game. The base currency is down here. I start with 1,000, that's sort of the cash currency, I suppose. And there's also currencies representing lumber and coal. And different things in the game require different combinations of currencies. So, here's our starting map. If I hit space, I can go into build mode, which to me makes it a little bit easier to see what we're looking at. The first thing I recommend doing is starting off with a passenger line between cities. Pink are cities with passengers. You can see the little icons here. And this represents the number of buildings. Each building produces passengers on a regular interval. Anytime you see one of these arrows, that represents sort of a timer, I suppose. So you'll see it inch up one section at a time, and when it's filled, a passenger will be produced and end up here. And this building actually has a longer timer, so for whatever reason, more passengers will come from that first building we selected and go to the train station. Now, and as you deliver passengers, in this case, Baltimore would need 1,000 passengers, either delivered or picked up, or possibly both. A new house will be built, and that house will in turn generate new passengers, and that's how you grow your cities. Now, as you can see, there's also industry in the game. Forestry here, which produces logs, much like the cities produce passengers, the little interval here. And then those logs can be taken to a sawmill to produce timber and a timber coin, but then the excess timber can be delivered to something called a tool works, and we have both of ours down here. And these take timber or planks, I guess, and coal, and they will produce tokens. So that's how we earn these two types of tokens, in addition to getting a little bit of payout for just delivering logs here. And we'll go over that soon, but first I think we want to set up a passenger line. That will get our green tokens rolling in. Because even though some things require lumber tokens or coal tokens, we can always kind of survive and keep going if we have enough of this green here. So, you know, already Irvine and Baltimore, 10 buildings and 11 buildings, fairly close by. I think that's probably a good place to think about starting. Got Norfolk up here, maybe we cruise all the way up to Arlington. And eventually we're going to be taking a lot of things down this way. So I kind of like to think about, in addition to the little circuits between buildings in a close radius, I like to think about kind of the map-wide superhighway and where we want the train tracks going. So I'm thinking certainly we want trains running north and south through here to deliver things to the tool works. And wow, we're going to have to go quite a long way. There's only one sawmill, and that's going to have to come all the way down through here. So we'll have up and down lines here. I don't know if we'll share them with these, but we'll see. I think we'll start getting these two together, and then the coal can jump on this north and south highway here. We'll start with a big north and south highway here, even though it's going to cut through some of these fields, which do come into play down the road in the form of farms and things. But for now, I'm okay with cutting through them because there's going to be enough in the end, I think. So, yeah, let's get to it. Let's just get some stations here in Irvine and Baltimore. Given the layout, now how the stations work, you can make them up to 6 tiles long to start, which I think we want to do because we want our trains to be as long as possible. And eventually we can upgrade these to 8 which I believe is the max. So I kind of like to leave room for that, those extra 2 sections where I can. Anyway, you'll see this blue highlight area. That means that's the catchment radius of the station. So only the buildings within this catchment radius will produce passengers for our train. And as it stands now, this probably isn't good enough because this town actually has a unique building here, this church, which has a long timer, but then will produce 10 passengers once it's complete. So I guess a weekly church service or something. So we want to make sure the church is in the catchment area. I still kind of like the station running down along this way. In fact, let's see, let's get the station. In fact, I might go one lower so I can move. Let's see, I'm gonna make an upgrade to the station that will increase the catchment radius by 2, which will be enough for the church, but maybe not enough for this building up here, which is too bad, but I do want to leave room below for additional tracks. So I think I'm going to start here, and on this station, I'm going to build in a waiting room extension. You can see this increases the loading speed of passengers. That's loading and unloading, by the way. It increases the capacity. That's how many people can be sitting here at one time waiting for a train. And then the catchment area, which is the big thing, which will, you know, extend that blue area. So let's put this right in the middle. I think makes sense. Oh, and it even does grab that house I wasn't sure about. So that grabs everything in town. Now, if they keep building out this way and build houses out here, then they're not going to be in the area anymore. So I do want to encourage them to kind of build this way. The problem is the road's kind of dead end along here. So, you know, I don't think this is worth the money yet, but we might want to build roads maybe coming along here to kind of encourage building out here and discourage it going up this way. In fact, 50 is a little bit steep for us right now, but I would consider maybe bulldozing that. I don't know. Okay, so there's our first station. And I'm going to have tracks coming straight away from each side. I like to kind of save room for the future. So both for maybe merges into multiple tracks, maybe maybe crossings from the street, who knows? Maybe extending the station itself. So we'll start with that. We might bend these, we'll see. So then we have a Baltimore up here, which is a little bit trickier because we don't have stations that trains can turn around in. So it does need to pass all the way through. So for example, I could normally maybe have a station here, and the train could just go in and then turn around and come back out, but our trains can't do that. So I wonder if maybe just north and south here would be good enough. A +2 would get some of these, but still leave all of this out here. Maybe a station up here. Maybe Baltimore becomes a 2-track station, one on each side. And then it builds down this way. You know, I kind of like that idea. It's a little bit close to the other station. But say we started here. Well, say we had... Man, the stations are... And then say we had one over here. And then we extend them both and then... Well, I'm still not getting the northern buildings here. And then I would put a waiting area here. We'll put it up towards the city. You can see it kind of moving along the edge. I mean, it's based on the waiting room location, not necessarily the station track location. So I'll put one up here. So that's a decent area. We're missing these 3, but I think I might put another track along the other side. And as this builds... yeah, and as this builds, maybe we'll have 2, but... Okay, so these 2 are extremely close. I don't think I can make it fit from there, but this will work. Okay. Yeah, only one straight piece on that end, but we've got plenty of room for straight line on this end. And then, yeah, El Paso's only small, but it does have this ruined church, which will eventually request our aid to deliver supplies to get it rebuilt. So we might as well get a station set up there now anyway. Question is, how do we want to come into it? I guess we'll have a station, you know, right alongside. Except I might bring it out just a bit more here, maybe? And that's really not even covering back there, huh? Okay. Well, this isn't cool. 100's a bit steep. I would love to get that back house, but we'll hold off for now. Just to, in fact, I might not even send our main train up there. I might just make a small loop here for servicing these two. Yeah, let's start with that. And I'm going to go wide around the forest because we might end up with a station there for picking up wood. We will go up. How far up? A little bit more, and then this will come right around here. And I'm sort of leaving room for an additional station here if need be. And then right... See, I kind of want it to look the same as this one. The same length. How far away was that before it started the turn? 1, 2, just 2 away, really. So from here? Okay. Alright, so that's fairly symmetrical. And at a glance, this downside does look symmetrical as well. Okay, so we've got a line in a sense. Now I think we should get a train on it, start making some money, and get the time rolling. So we'll go here, and we'll build a depot. Now, since we're on hard mode, we only get to build one of these. And it's going to have to distribute trains all around the network. I wonder if it's worth throwing some money at the bones of this major highway area we're thinking about building. Something like this would cost us 50. Yeah, I sort of think it is. Assuming this becomes kind of a main highway for all of our trains. So say it's here. We'll spend like 50 on it. And then we'd have something breaking off and merging with this little network here. Something like that. Okay. And then our depot will just be... Let's try to connect. I kind of want to go both ways, although... Yeah, so our tracks are going to be one way for the most part. And I'll have to set the signals up to encourage that in a moment, but for now we're only going to have one train to start, so it shouldn't matter. Yeah, this will be fine. And I think we can destroy it and move it if we really want to. So, our wagons. We want passenger cars. Our choices right now in this era are the Pullman and the coach car. They both cost green money, which is good because that's all we have. And you can see the weight and the length. And the length contributes to, you know, pulling into the station. This station is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles long. This is just under 1 tile long, barely over half tile long. You can have trains pull in that are longer than the station. You'll just get a loading penalty. So your cargo or passengers won't load and unload quite as fast. So it's still doable. But we're going to try to avoid it. And then our engines, there's only one engine we can get, the 260 Porter. So we'll do that. It goes up to 40 miles an hour. And it in itself is over 1 tile. And the operating cost is 1 of these green tokens. And you can see this, another one of these timer arrows here. As this ticks up, as it travels along, once it's filled up, you'll get charged that 1 token. And we don't want to run out because, as we saw, once we can't pay to keep a train running, it just stops on the track, which could, you know, basically end our game if things get too congested. So, given our money, you know, they're only 22. I think we will load this up with coach cars. Well, maybe we'll go lighter to save a little bit of money, because I don't see us generating that many passengers quite yet. So to save just a little bit of money, because the cost per passenger is more efficient with this one, but you can transport a lot more with a coach car. Well, maybe not a lot more, but I think the efficiency is a little bit better. But the cost is more than double. So yeah, let's just go with the good old Pullman. We can see our length increasing here. We want to keep it under 6, but I think that'll be no problem. We'll probably hit the overall weight limit first. You can see these two numbers. This is your base weight when empty, and then your max weight when full. And this train can only reach its top speed if it stays at 168 tons or less. So we're well within that range. And we can see, you know, we can use these numbers here to guess how many more we're going to need. But we'll get close. I think we'll go to 4.53. Let's see how many is that. That's quite a train here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 tiles long. It can hold 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 8, 48 passengers. Yeah, I think that'll be okay to start. It's a good length, and we might do 2 of these. Okay, so we'll select train 1 here. We'll go to the orders tab. We will say first you're going to go to Irvine, and then you're going to go to Station 2 near Baltimore. And that'll be that. And then from Baltimore, you'll continue on kind of a long way. I mean, you could just reverse, but we don't want trains reversing. So we'll get you started, and before we unpause it, I'm going to make sure we don't do any reversing by adding a couple signals in. And we'll talk about signals here soon. But we're making this one way. Okay. So let's go back to the normal mode. We've started our train. I'll watch it come out of the depot here. You hear it coming. 40 miles per hour max speed. Steam just blasting through the roof. Okay, we'll hit this bottom arrow to follow it. There it goes, we are underway. Empty passenger cars. You can also ride on board if you'd like by hitting this little circle button. You can look around freely, holding middle mouse by default. Switch your camera angle. Look out the window, see your towns up close. You can also pull the whistle. So off he goes. And while he's coming, let's take a quick peek at these signals. Signals basically exist just to make sure that more than one train doesn't enter the same section of track. And each signal sort of acts as an endpoint to a section of track. So for example, before I put any of these signals down, every single bit of track that was connected was considered one block of track, as long as it's touching and connected, which means only one train would have ever been allowed on that. Now, once I add a signal, that breaks it a bit. So, for example, I think it's a little bit easier to see in this view. And I'm going to pause it real quick because right now we have these 2 signals. And the reason I put them at the beginning and the end is because if there's a train already at the station, I want the next train coming to wait as close as possible until it's its turn. So it'll wait right here. This is as close as I can get a signal. And it'll go in as soon as this block that we've created is free. So we've got a signal here and a signal here. That's one block right between them. And so as soon as the train leaves the station and passes this signal completely, this will open up and let a new train in. So that's why I have it as soon as possible. I want the signal to be detected so the next train can come in as soon as it's safe. And the station itself does not act as a block, which I believe in some games it might, but in this game it does not. So as you can see, this signal is red because there's a train on the next block, and that's our train down here somewhere, right? And that would be true if the train was anywhere along this track, even anywhere out here. As soon as it rolled out of the depot, this signal would have turned red because this is all connected. So we would have used signals to kind of break that up if we had more than one train going. And as you can see, these are both green because there's no train in the next block up to this signal. Same with this one, up to this signal there's no train, and up to this one there's no train, but this one is red because on all of this track here there is a train. So let's get it moving. See how many passengers we have waiting? 18 already, so they are moving along. We did get all the buildings in our catchment range. Here comes train 1, we'll have to give that a name here. Let's call it the Inaugural. What a name. Shorten that or something. The Inaugural. So it didn't fill up. 28 out of 48. Okay, so that's not bad. 17 more already showed up. And as we drop them off here, there are 22 waiting. We'll get a little bit of money. Okay. Well, we are on our way. Halfway full again. That's interesting. Okay, so we'll close that. We'll let him cruise along. Take a look at our town. You can't quite get as much info unless you're close. Or, sorry, unless you're far. Yeah, 35 people here. 11 here. Okay, so he'll almost get filled up here. Filled up. And as long as one train is good enough, we'll keep it at 1. You can kind of see the cash value on the train, only 6, but now he's got 11.2 cash on him, so we will start to trickle back up. And if we need to, we'll borrow more money, because Alright, we put a station here, so El Paso is starting to accumulate passengers. They won't get mad if you don't service them, which is nice. They'll just sit there waiting for you to do something. And it doesn't matter when or how quickly you get to them. At least not at this stage of development. I'm not sure if there's plans for them or not. Alright, let's speed it up even more. I mean, we could have saved more money by shortening the track, but I'd kind of like to lay out things for the future, so we don't get into a jam. Although tearing down track is nice because you get all your money back from track at least. Your stations and buildings, you do not get all your money back. Alright, so I guess he's satisfying this line by himself. So what next? What can we do with 217 monies? I guess we could have El Paso worked into this. It's a little tricky given where it is, and I do want to keep these one way. I mean, I do like to double track it, so there would be a south track coming down here at some point. Well, maybe we do start to get the timber and the coal. We don't really have enough for, well, 222. How much would it cost for, so each train is 40. Maybe we start getting just our lumber coins, our timber plank coins. But I'm not even sure if we're making enough money to support that yet. We got to get another city involved here is what I think. I mean, El Paso is not going to really pay off too much, but it's something. And let's see how we want to do this. Now, you want to minimize your crossings. You really don't want your trains to be waiting for other trains. And once we start getting a lot of trains on our lines, that's going to be very common unless we take steps to avoid that. So one thing we could do very easily is for El Paso, we could have one lane split off up here. Just grab the track so it's visible. We could have one lane split off up here and come around, you know, up here and then around, and then it would come back and get back on our line. But that is sort of a lot of excess travel. We could also have this just go straight and in, although this is kind of a tight turn here. Yeah, it wouldn't quite be right. We could have it branch off and go over a bridge or under a tunnel. The thing with the tunnels, they need kind of one space on each side. So you can see how it's overlapping the track on that bottom section on the left. But if we moved it one over, it'd be no problem. Not enough tokens. Oh wow, these are quite expensive. Okay, yeah, 177 for that bridge. I mean, we are making money, but not quickly enough. Leave it running a bit. Time is going by. Yeah, I think for now our best bet is just going to have to be to wrap around to El Paso and then wrap back around and then just kind of waste that time. So we'll have El Paso. I guess it'll be dependent on how quickly we can get over there from maybe here. Oh, it went too high. Start back from here. Oh no, yeah, this should work. Okay. Same would say here. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's El Paso. And do we just add another order? Yeah, we'll add another order to inaugural, and then I think we might copy inaugural and get 2 trains running on this line. So just to the end, tack on El Paso. So after you get to Baltimore, come up this way, go to El Paso, then come back around to Irvine. We'll see how that looks. We'll see how many passengers we end up. Yeah, he wasn't actually already able to pick up all of them, so I think we might get another one of these trains. And we did get a new quest, and the quests are sort of tutorials. They kind of move you along where you should be going. So he's asking us to deliver 100 logs to any sawmill. He'll give us some money, and I think we will get that going. We'll think about where we want those, where we want to set up that sawmill station. There's already 18 waiting here. We've delivered or dropped off 117 out of our 1,100 max, so about 10% there. This should go up to El Paso now. where there are 34 waiting, but there won't be that much next time because this is building up very slowly. Although, you know, how many... Yeah, it's just one person. The station's not catching it. Yeah. And if you'll notice, this signal is red, so if there was a train in the station, it wouldn't be able to leave because this is all connected all the way up until it finds another signal, which would be down here. All the way down here. So, while I do think we're going to get another train going here, we're going to have to get our signaling set up. Yeah, because we're just generating a few too many here. I think we can make a little bit more money by getting another one of these trains. So let's go to our depot, and I think the easiest way to do that is just to duplicate inaugural here. And it'll kind of go over the costs and what you're going to be copying. So yeah, 100. That puts us down at 70, very tight. So train 2, your orders are the same, so go ahead and start. And maybe I'll leave the signals as is to kind of show you. Actually, yeah, he can't leave right now. I don't believe, because the block is taken, because it's all the way connected here. So that train won't leave until he pulls into that station. Sorry for the camera move. Yeah, so as soon as he gets past this signal, we should see this guy roll out. Yeah, I think I just heard him. So there he goes. Train 2. And as you can see, his signal leaving is also red now because train 2 is on that circuit. And he's not going to be able to go up to El Paso until this guy pulls in here. So we'll start laying out our signals. Okay. Let's give it a quick pause. Now, we have an interesting situation here, which I'll come back to. In the meantime, we'll start laying out signals here. Oh, you know, I didn't keep both straight. They will live with it for now because I don't expect El Paso to be too big. And we've got 2 on the end here, so that's not bad. And then we'll have him wait at the intersection here before he leaves. And let's see. We'll leave it there for the moment because I do want to get into this. This is a situation where we might consider using chain signals because I don't want any train to get stuck in the middle. Say a train comes up here and then gets stuck up here and can't progress. Well, that's going to block a train from coming this way. So we use chain signals to kind of prevent that. And how they work is we'll put a block signal on the exit. And then we'll put a chain signal on the entrance to the turn. So now, the chain signals also create a block, by the way. So now this is green because this section to this section is clear of trains. Now what's going to happen for him is he's going to come up to here, and because it's a chain signal makes sure that the following signal is also green before turning green. So that prevents clogging intersections. So unless I can get through this signal, I'm not going to attempt to get through this intersection. That will make sure I don't get stuck in the middle. And I'm going to do the same thing for any trains coming this way. Because I don't know which direction you're going to be going. You might be going up, you might be going to the side. And if one way is clear, or if one way is blocked, I don't want it to obstruct the other direction. Okay, so we'll do the same on both. So from either direction, make sure you can get all the way through the intersection before going. And as you can see, this one is now red because this train's on it. But that has opened up El Paso because we have now closed off that big block we had going. So this guy is now free to move inaugural here. And he's going to go up to El Paso. And we'll stop it for a moment. His chain signal is green because where he's going up here is green. If he wanted to go here, he would stop here instead. Because this block is occupied right now. That would allow, say, a train that was coming this direction to continue up this way if it needed to, without being blocked by inaugural here. If this was not a chain signal, he would say, oh, this block here is clean, or is clear, so I'm going to pull up to this block here, and then I'm going to wait. And then at that point, he'd be blocking this little intersection. So he's going to proceed through because this way is clear, but if he had to go this way, he would not. And that's what we want. So he's clear. These are both red because neither direction is clear. So anyone would be waiting here. Now, if they were, that seems too long to wait, right? We want these to open up sooner so trains can kind of follow more closely together. So we would add our own blocks throughout the track to kind of keep trains at a safe following distance and prevent them from stopping more than they needed to. The nice thing about this game is it's got a handy little tool here for automatically placing signals at a certain distance. And by default it's set to 8, which is the maximum station size. Our current station size is just 6. So we'll bump it down to 6. And what you do is, we'll start with a signal we know about. We'll select it first. And as you can see, it's already moving and putting signals for me. And it does it all the way up until the next intersection, essentially. So we'll do that with this intersection here. So these guys will only wait until there's a train length free, and then they'll go. Same with this one. That'll go up to here. And then, yeah, we have a short block here, but that's fine. And we'll do the same thing on this one. It adds just one in the middle. It's great. And we'll do the same thing here. This will not overwrite the chain signal, which in this case I'm glad for. And we'll put up one more signal here. Yeah. So trains coming from either direction will only go in if this is open, and then whoever gets there first will basically get the right of way. And we'll see if there's any space here. No, that's already about 6. We'll do one here. You can see it added the signal there, and then I guess this was close enough. Perfect. And then is there space for one more here? Yeah, but maybe we'll just do a halfway point. Now, there's no need, because the train will be well out of the way before one's ready to come out. And it doesn't do much good to have one here, because if a train moves up and waits there, it's still blocking the station. So, okay, so we've got a little bit more signaling going on. We should see these trains mostly fly around uninterrupted, although it's certainly possible to get to a station at the same time. He's able to fly through without stopping. Hopefully he clears. Yeah, so he cleared this signal in time for this one to turn green, so this guy didn't even have to slow down, I don't believe. And that's what you want. Because even though I have it on fast mode, they are slowing down quite a bit, and you can tell when you get back to regular speed. But, cool, so here's train 2. He's only got 5. Yeah, El Paso's really small. I'm tempted to get that last building in, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. In fact, expanding to El Paso in general might have been a mistake. Okay, but I do believe this is enough to start generating some money. Not as fast as I would like, but hey, we've got 47 people here, so Irvine is really the station that's saving us right now. We're at least getting filled up from there. See, a full load pays 12 coins. Okay, so we're up to 100. That's an increase. Now, before we go, I'd say we should kind of think about where we want to deliver our lumber. Now, there's only one sawmill on the whole map, so that makes... Oh no, how did I miss this one? Well, this is probably the one we want, because that's a straight shot down to the toolworks here. We could even connect it up to our existing line here, and have this come and use this straight line down here, possibly. Yeah, we might as well. I don't know how I missed this before. I swear it wasn't there. Well, it's on tape, so there's no need to for me. I'll be easily proven or disproven. But yeah, so what I think we'll do is kind of piggyback on this line, since it's not so busy yet. Bring it straight down from this forest stop. Or maybe even this one might be a little bit easier to get in and out of. Yeah, might be easier to get in and out of this one. Let's just set it up really quickly. No, we'll set it up next time. We'll get a station here, creating logs. We'll jump on this rail, which will bring down, maybe we'll even do a nice 2-lane here, down to the sawmill, and then the sawmill will just continue on to one of these toolworks. Yeah, and we'll start generating some lumber tokens, and then we can flesh out this highway here, get a coal mine down in there. There's also coal here. So maybe we want... Okay. So for starters, I'm thinking we'll have the highway up and down here, and then maybe a little one down here. And then somehow we'll try to smoothly integrate these two circular loops we've got going on here. Which, you know, they might need to all be torn down and reconfigured at some point in the future. But I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.